Welcome to our What's in Your CTV Ad Portfolio webinar today, which is a preview of the release that will be going out tomorrow from our AB Tech Lab, our last release of 2025, the CTV Ad Portfolio. My name is Barnaby Edwards. I'm Senior Director of Product Marketing here at IAB Tech Lab. And I'm going to kick things off for the first 10 minutes or so. And then I will pass it over to our VP of Product, Jill Wittkopp, along with two members of the Ad Format Hero Task Force, Angie Carballo from DirectTV and Jon Levinson from Samsung Ads, who will dig into how the task force did their work and discuss some of the more technical nuances and executional nuances of the portfolio that we'll be releasing tomorrow. So why did we start this? Well, CTV inventory is expanding. It's becoming more accessible to brands of all sizes, including startup D2C brands and small businesses, which means there are new and engaging ways with which we can talk to consumers beyond just the traditional pre, mid, and post-roll ads that were possible with linear TV and with the early sort of video advertising. So we wanted to, companies are trying to create more ad experiences that truly engage consumers and drive results for brands. But for this to really scale, on formats, that we needed to have standards around the formats themselves, the technical implementation of those formats, so that we can ensure consistency in the experience for consumers, drive efficiency and cost savings in development, and streamline trafficking processes, and ensure that we get the right results. It's a little bit like the early days of programmatic advertising, which was messy and inefficient until the IAB introduced the digital ad portfolio. We wanted to do the same for CTV. So late last year, we started the Ad Format Hero initiative. We engaged with CTV leaders from over 40 different companies, and they submitted well over 100 ad formats that they were using and finding that they were getting value. From that group, the Ad Format Hero Task Force selected 8 unique formats that they believed were candidates for standardization. These were menu ads, pause ads, screensaver ads, in-scene ads, overlay on content ads, content squeezebacks, ad squeezebacks on ads, and immersive and extensible ads. And these were the candidates for standardization. That what we did was we surveyed the industry to get additional feedback and learn more about how these different formats were being used out in the wild today. So what did the industry have to say? We had well over 100 responses to an open industry call that had about 20 questions overall. And if you responded, thank you for taking that time. And as you'll see from the profile of responders, we got a lot of people from both the buy and the sell side, which is really important, and a wide range of roles within the organizations that were responding, including products, marketing, and leadership, as well as ad operations. So we felt that we got a solid representation of the industry with this survey. We started, I'm going to review some of the key questions that we asked and the ones that had some of the most interesting results. We asked about what provided the best user experience and unanimity. I mean, when do you get that in this industry? Everybody really felt that pause ads were undoubtedly the best user experience. Makes a lot of sense. It was very intuitive. And this was not the same in the other categories. And it's a clear, as you can see from the chart on the right, it's a clear win for pause ads in this area. In terms of what will scale more effectively, there was a little bit more of a disparity. It was a lot more even. And focus really seemed to be on the overlay ads and the pause ads again. So again, I'm sure from the sell side, especially the pause ads were very popular, but on the buy side, content overlay was more popular, certainly from the brand and the agency perspective. And then where do we expect to provide the greatest increase in ad spend? Um, this is a lot there's a lot more debate here from the ad tech side of things. Pause ads were definitely again a huge favorite. It's new inventory, so that probably has something to do with that, but also these squeeze back ads and the menu and home screen ads, as we were calling them at that point, um also showed a lot of value on the publisher side and on the brand and agency side. And this is probably the one that was most subjective. So what did we learn overall? We learned that pause ads are very popular among everybody in the ecosystem. The buy side seems to have more enthusiasm for the less interruptive formats. So like the overlay, which doesn't really interrupt content at all, or the pause ad where the user is interrupting the content, so that's not really the advertiser interrupting. And then the sell side seems to put more focus on the formats that create additional unique inventory, like the menu ads and the pause ads again. And there seemed to be some excitement, especially in the comments from some of the respondents to the survey, around the potential for some of the more complex to execute formats getting value out of standardization. So at this point, the task force got to work. They dug in to really understand the formats and the variations of the formats that would make up the finalized portfolio. And as they did that, they discovered that really the eight original candidates from the survey were really six core formats, and some of those had a set of standard variation which would need to make up final options within that format. And Jill, Jon, and Angie will cover that discussion in more depth in a few minutes. Um, the main change from the original eight candidates was that the ad squeeze back was really felt to just be an existing ad creative rather than the ad squeeze back within an ad was really felt to be just an existing ad creative rather than a new format, because the ad is already there. You can just squeeze it back in the same video creative and it kind of works. Um, it was also felt that the immersive ad format was not really a standalone format, because any of these formats can actually be made interactive if you're using the attributes of the CIMID specification and those types of things, and that will also be included in the group discussion. So, we started off, the menu ad remains a favorite. We also renamed some of these ad formats just to make just for clarity as much as anything else. The favorite, the pause ad. You see able to see a quick example here. One of the things we did was make sure that it took over the full screen in this kind of area. So again, there was a lot of variation around where pause and screensaver ads actually, where the size of the ad was. So make standardizing that around full screen was fairly important. Similarly, standardizing the signs, the sizes with the in-scene insertion ad. But then there were a couple of areas where, we wanted to make sure that, again, coming down to size, overlays, there were lots and lots of examples of that we received during the survey. Um, the task force felt that standardizing around the lower third with a very specific ad size, and then with the corner option, gave the greatest opportunity for value. And then on the squeeze back, which again had a lot of different variations, we have a right and left squeeze back. We now have a frame squeeze back, and then a double box squeeze back. So these are the core formats, but the squeeze back can go right or left, or the double squeeze back can have double box squeeze back can have a background or not have a background. So these are sort of like variations within the core format that will relate to sizes and those types of things, which will be coming out in in the next stage of this, which Jill and the team will talk about in a moment.